If you're like me and you're actively looking for a new job, whether you don't have a job at all or you're tired of the job that you're currently in, you want to hear good news about the economy, specifically about the job market. You want to hear that there's tens, if not 100 companies that are growing their facilities in the USA, that are going on a hiring spree, that are trying to take their business to the next level. Unfortunately, I don't have that kind of news for you today, because today we're going to talk about Intel. And I got a couple of different articles. But the gist of the situation is they're looking to fire thousands of workers. And this is really not new information. We've covered Ultimate Kronos Group laying off about 2,000 people. We've covered Intuit, the makers of TurboTax and MailChimp and QuickBooks, laying off 1,800 people and then not taking any responsibility for themselves, but just saying that 1,050 of those people were underperformers. So let's dive more into this article, or these few articles on Intel, and see what's going on with their plans to lay off, to fire, to let go of thousands of employees. Our first article is from Yahoo Finance, and the headline is Intel to lay off thousands to slash cost and fund technology rebound effort. Intel plans to reduce its workforce by thousands as part of a strategic move to cut costs and channel funds into reviving its market position, Bloomberg reported, citing sources. The job cuts, which could be announced imminently, are a response to recent earnings slumps and market share losses. With a current headcount of approximately 110,000, excluding spin-off units, the company faces the challenge of regaining its once dominant status in the semiconductor industry. Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger has initiated substantial investments in research and development to enhance the company's technological capabilities. This push for innovation is crucial as Intel contends with competitors such as Advanced Micro Devices, AMD, which has made significant inroads into Intel's market share. A representative for Intel refused to comment on the report. Intel's actions also reflect the urgency to address challenges from other chip makers, particularly NVIDIA, which has excelled in producing high-demand, artificial intelligence-focused semiconductors, the report said. The company's primary revenue stream from laptop and desktop computer chips is also experiencing fluctuating demand. Gelsinger's strategy not only includes technological advancements, but also an expansion into manufacturing semiconductors for other companies. This shift is highlighted by the recent appointment of Naga Chandrase Karan, formerly of Micron Technology, who will oversee the company's manufacturing operations. Intel has already taken steps to streamline its operations, reducing its workforce by about 5% to 124,800 by the end of 2023, and implementing cost-saving measures anticipated to save up to $10 billion by 2025. In June, Intel finalized a deal with Apollo Global Management to sell a 49% stake in a joint venture linked to its Fab 34 facility in Ireland. This deal, valued at $11 billion, represents a strategic partnership for Intel's high-volume manufacturing facility in Leixlip, Ireland, as the company navigates its path towards recovery and growth. Intel to lay off thousands to slash costs and fund technological rebound effort was originally created and published by Verdict, a global data-owned brand. So like I said, I don't know where the good news is, because if we're reading reports about a company, about an organization, it's usually around the fact that they either just laid off thousands of people or they're about to lay off thousands of people. So it's just really tough right now. And I know a lot of people don't have a soft spot in their heart, don't feel any sort of remorse for technology workers, because people not in the technology field think that tech workers were way overpaid, that they got too used to the good life. But as someone who has spent their entire career in technology, I ask you, what am I supposed to do? because I can get a government job, sure. But I mean, I think that my paycheck would cut in half, and that's even if I were to get it. I mean, who really out there is hiring? Because if you know where I could take my project management skills, my MBA, my experience, my certifications, and apply them to a job that I can get in a completely different industry, I'd love for you to let me know, because I'm kind of running out of ideas here. Because every company that I could potentially work at is not only not hiring, but they're firing thousands of people. The old job that I used to have for the most part was a scrum master, and that role is completely gone because it tied into working and managing projects and managing developers in big organizations. And none of these big organizations are hiring anymore. So I'm already pivoting a little bit, and I don't know where I'm supposed to go from here. So if you have any advice, definitely please let me know. The second article today is from CRN, which seems to be an IT news related website. And it is titled, Intel Planning Thousands of Layoffs in Cost-Saving Move. So let's see what kind of different information is on here. And as always, my articles are linked down below in the description. Either the link's there, or if it maybe has too many ads for YouTube, just the headlines there. But go down to the description to read along and read more information, because I'm just going to go over the highlights that pertain to what we're talking about today. But this article says the tech giant, which has seen its stock price fall nearly 40% since earlier this year, likely wants to use the funds saved to invest in overcoming a recent slump in its share price and to market share losses to its semiconductor competitors, including AMD, Bloomberg reported on Tuesday. And that's another thing. Remember when you used to go to Best Buy, when that was still a thing before Amazon completely took over the world? And you would see on so many different computers the little sticker with the Intel processor inside. It used to be a badge of honor. It used to be a way for you to know that the computer that you're about to buy is really state of the art, it's got a fast processor, and we're in business. Fast forward, 10 years later? And they've fallen behind, apparently, a lot of their competitors. It's very similar to reminiscing about Blockbuster and how now they're out of business, or some of these other companies that were such market leaders and now they've fallen behind, not kept up with the times, and had their competitors pass them by. The article goes on to say Intel is looking to eliminate thousands of jobs as a way to cut costs and fund plans to recover from market share loss. The plan comes as Santa Clara, California-based Intel plans to report its second fiscal quarter 2024 financials on Thursday of this week. Intel has been facing financial headwinds that have caused its share prices to fall significantly so far this year. Intel's stock Tuesday closed at $30.13 per share, down 2.27% for the trading day and down 36.7% since its January 2nd close of $47.47 per share. Wow. Yeah, that is a big drop this year. Not looking good. Intel reported that its 2023 revenue was $54.2 billion, down $8.8 billion, or 14% from 2022. The article goes on to talk about our new executive who we already talked about, Naga, and then it also talks about how Naga will succeed 29-year Intel veteran Keyvan Esfarjani as the leader of the company's worldwide manufacturing operations. So, they're making some roads, they're making some kind of changes to, I guess, see if they can shake things up a little bit to kind of rebound from the position that they've been as of late. So at least they're trying something at the top. And Marvell Technologies executive Kevin O'Buckley in May was tapped to hand that organization's customer service and ecosystem operations. Intel in April confirmed an unspecified number of layoffs in its sales and marketing group as part of the reorganization. Bloomberg reported that Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger is invested heavily in research and development to enable the company to return to its previous semiconductor industry prominence after rivals include AMD have taken a larger share of the market. So let's dive a little bit more into what happened back in April. So all these reports were from this month, from a couple of days ago. And now we're talking about what happened back in April to kind of give us some warning clues of what's going on now and then what can continue to happen in the next month or so. So the article back in April, also from CRN, says Intel confirms layoffs in sales and marketing group. Intel initiated a new round of layoffs this week, so back in April, that affected an unspecified number of employees in its sales and marketing group, CRN has learned. A spokesperson for the Santa Clara, California-based chipmaker confirmed on Thursday that it has made job cuts as part of a reorganization, but did not provide any further details. The sales and marketing group is led by Christopher Schell, who is Intel's chief commercial officer, with the objective of continuing to deliver on company strategy and drive outcomes for its customers. Intel's sales and marketing group announced changes to its organizational structure, the Intel representative said in a statement. We are confident in Intel's future and committed to supporting all employees through this process, including treating impacted employees with dignity and respect. This is the latest round of layoffs to hit Intel since CEO Pat Gelsinger announced in October 2022 that the semiconductor giant planned to cut spending by as much as $10 billion through 2025 to weather an abrupt and pronounced slowdown in demand. The company has not said how many employees it has laid off since then. The only numbers disclosed by Intel has been regarding individual layoff rounds, impacting 50 or more employees within a 30-day period at its offices in California, as required by the state's Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act. The layoffs were enacted the same week Intel announced a new financial reporting structure that separates the company's product design businesses from its chip manufacturing operations, revealing that the former suffered from a $7 billion operating loss last year. Intel is separating the businesses in a bid to turn its chip-making arm, now known as Intel Foundry, into the independent contract chip manufacturing business that competes with Asian foundry giants TSMC and Samsung. When it announced the new financial reporting structures on Tuesday, the company said Intel Foundry's operating losses are expected to peak in 2024 as it completes Gelsinger's node acceleration plan. The chip manufacturing business is expected to achieve break-even operating margins midway between now and the end of 2030, when it targets 40% non-GAAP gross margins and 30% non-GAAP operating margins, he added. So this year, in 2024, we are way beyond the fact of just sitting around and being optimistic and hopeful that everything is going to be okay. If you currently have a job, you really need to be paying attention to what's going on, not just in your particular department, but in the organization as a whole. Because as we see these things and these announcements for major layoffs affecting thousands of people at various organizations, there usually is some kind of writing on the wall. There's some kind of precursor that happens at a smaller scale to big, massive layoffs. And I'm not saying you need to quit your job right away, but I think that you need to be very mindful and paying attention and looking at news articles to see what's going on with the company. If you see them starting layoffs, even if it's in a different department, if you see them cutting some people or closing offices, you know it's time to get serious about looking for a new job. And even if you don't start that job right away, you at least need to have some choices, a plan B, if you will, because it takes a while to land a new job. It's taking a lot of people months, if not an entire year, to be able to do that. So if you are at a company that is doing a lot of layoffs and then all of a sudden they lay you off, then it might be too late. Even if you get a couple months severance, you might not have enough severance to cover the amount of time that it's going to take you to get a new job. So my advice to you is to kind of vanity search the company that you're working for. Look to see if they're doing layoffs, if they're announcing cuts, look at their stock prices, really monitor what's going on. So I think it's always a good idea to probably be looking for a job to have a backup plan. But especially if you notice these kind of reports about the organization you're working for, it is 100% time to kick things to the next gear to see if there is a soft landing for you in case of a layoff. The last article we have today on the Intel layoffs is from investorplace.com. And the headline is, Intel Layoffs 2024. What to know as INTC plans to slash thousands of jobs. And it says Intel laid off 5% of its workforce last year. So once again, we're kind of getting desensitized to this. It's not 14% like Ultimate, but 5% is still a pretty large number of your organization to start laying off. The article adds that Intel has received billions of dollars of subsidies from both state and local governments. In March, the White House announced that it had reached a preliminary agreement with Intel that would see it receive up to $8.5 billion in direct funding and $11 billion in loans through the CHIPS and Science Act. As for earnings, Wall Street expects revenue to grow by just 0.25% to $12.98 billion. That would mark the slowest quarter of growth since the third quarter of 2023. For context, AMD reports quarter two revenue growth of 9%. Furthermore, Wall Street expects Intel to post an EPS loss of 11 cents compared to 35 cents a year ago. So let me know, do you currently work at Intel? Have you worked at Intel in the past? Or are you looking or applying for a job right now at Intel? Basically, I'm asking if you have Intel and Intel, because this does not seem good. It seems like yet another organization that is going in the wrong direction. And as so many Americans are actively looking for brand new jobs, this is the last set of news that we need. We need to see some companies that are hiring, that are growing, that are moving in the right direction. Because week after week, all we see is new layoff news. And I don't like to be the bearer of bad news, but this channel is about keeping you guys updated to what's going on in the labor market, what's going on in the job market. And unfortunately, today was some more bad news from Intel. Talk to you later.